Oh, I can't really see.
Yeah, Melinda is all right because she's more like an admin.
Oh, beautiful. Hello then.
You're most welcome, Ma.
Yay.
Okay, so
Hi.
hi, Melinda. So what I will do is, first I'll share my screen. Can you let me know what you guys are seeing?
Acknowledgement of
Yeah,
country.
preview.
Preview.
Preview. Uh,
Yeah, that's
okay.
good.
Cool. And okay, so good. So good evening, everyone. So we in Murdoch we always start, or in Australia I would say, we always start off with acknowledgement of country. So we acknowledge the Wajik people of the Noongar Nation as the traditional custodians of this country and its waters, and that Murdoch University stands on Noongar country. We pay our respects to Noongar elders past and present and emerging, and acknowledge their wisdom and advice in teaching and cultural knowledge activities. Thank you. Okay. So just to set out the agenda for today, we'll have we'll sort of start off with welcome and self-introduction. So these are the big topics that we'll try to cover today. This is a kind of a rough timeline. We'll try to finish everything by about 8:15. But if people want to stay on and have a chat, we can go on till 8:30. So since this is a small group, a couple of people, especially from Hong Kong, who couldn't make it, three from Hong Kong who couldn't make it, new students. So it's Sui Cheng, Jason, and Farizan. So perhaps we can start by asking Sui Cheng to introduce herself.
Yes, hi, good evening. This is Frisian. So I'm based in Singapore. Okay, so I'm currently the head of marketing communications for APAC for Merck Group. So it's the Germany side. It's the German company, not the American one that people tends to know. So I'm with the life science business over there. So yeah, so right now, obviously, my role is very much on strategy, leadership, and I think this course is just right for me. Yeah.
Thank you, Sui Cheng. Do we have? Is Jenny also from Merck? May, do you remember which company Jenny is from?
Pharmaceutical. I don't.
Oh, okay. I thought we had another a former participant student from Merck. But welcome, Sui Cheng. Good to have you with us. We'll let Farizan finish her dinner. So Jason.
Yes, sir. Okay. Hi everyone. I'm Jason here. I'm not a new student. I'm the old student here. So this is my second attempt for the T3, one of the unit. Basically, I'm working for the private equity company in Singapore, based in Singapore. So I'm the global procurement here. And right now, the situation of the global pandemic that affect the overall supply chain. I think this is a very good platform for me to understand the leadership and the innovation of the overall supply chain. They call it supply chain reliance, resilience itself. So this is a very good platform, and thank you for inviting me into this program again.
Welcome, Jason. Good to have you back with us.
Yes, sir.
Farizan, would you be able to introduce
hi.
yourself?
Yeah, I'm Faizan. I'm in sustainability, in green buildings as well as sustainability, and I'm at this company called Green A Consultants. So we are literally a sustainability consultant group. Yeah.
Okay, welcome, Farizan. Today we're trying out something new, and we're also we're very fortunate that we have I would say two very good students, two model students, Monica and May. I thought it would be good if the students themselves could share sort of their best practices, because a lot of what determines your success and how to say, having an enjoyable learning experience comes from planning. And May and Monica, in my view, they're both mothers. They both have senior roles, and they've managed this program very well, growing from strength to strength. So I thought, well, no one should have any excuse, because I don't think anyone can be busier than these two ladies, or if not as busy as these two ladies. So May and Monica, if you could just introduce yourself, please.
Monica, you always go first, right?
May, the activist in you, off you go.
That's how we are. Hi guys, I'm May. I'm working in the IT management for over 25 years in logistics. I joined this program maybe a year ago, and I'm finishing the 10 units. I won't call myself a model student. Thank you, Dr. Greg. I would say that I'm a student that I don't give up. I persevere. Maybe that's a better word. The only thing I can add on in my learning journey will be you got to be quite flexible. Flexible in the sense that different lecturers have different styles. You got to understand your lecturer styles. You also need to understand your own strengths so that you leverage. And the most important lessons I learned towards the end is to ask your lecturer question, which I didn't do the first term. I didn't ask enough. And I thought that as an MBA student or a master's student, I should not, keep depending on my lecturers, but actually I'm wrong. You can ask, you should ask. I think if they can share, they will. Does not mean that they will score you less or more, but it's just kind of show your eagerness to know more. I think it's okay to share and to ask questions. There will be times that you find that you really don't know what that unit guide. Very important, your unit guide is your Bible. You need the Bible to score. So even you are very hardworking, you did all your readings, essential, but if you don't look at the unit guide, you don't follow how he's going to mark your assessment or assignment, you're not going to score well. Right, Dr. Greg? I learned something.
Yeah. So May, we will have a specific session towards the end where we will ask all this wonderful wisdom. At this stage, maybe a little bit about yourself. So you mentioned May is actually the CIO of this company. What else about you, May?
Myself, I'm in healthcare IT, public board, the hospital in Singapore, CIO, but it may be a big name, but to me, I'm just any student in this class, okay? That's one. Second is, of course, you really need to be very disciplined. I think that's what is important in this class. And network. I think it's a network and the friends, because you have a lot of group work. It is where you learn together. I think Jason will share a bit more. We learn a lot. Nobody's perfect anyway. And then, of course, we make mistakes, we fall a bit, and we will get up and we'll do better. Yeah, so make friends, ask around, and enjoy the whole term, I hope. It's going to be tough, but it won't be wasted, I guarantee you.
Yes,
Thank you.
we're all in one team.
Yes.
Thanks, May. Monica, a little bit about yourself.
Yes, thank you, Greg. I also, like May, started a year ago. I can't believe where the time has gone. And it's really great to be able to say hello to all of you on your journey as well. And I do know Jason because we shared a unit together last year too. So I'm based in Perth, Western Australia. I'm literally over the road from where Greg is sitting right now, which is great. My role, I work for a pharmaceutical company, and actually I work at quite a senior level, engaging with CEOs across numerous clinical networks, and it's basically looking where there's gaps in the health system, and then what is our role to fix those gaps. So very innovative, lots of innovation, very strategic. So the strategy piece which you're about to embark on is was very exciting for me, and followed by innovation as well, and leadership is massive, and you actually will grow as a person. But yeah, I'm looking forward to sharing some of my ideas and thoughts to help you on your journey as well. So thank you, Greg.
Thank you, Monica. Now we also have Venkat, who will be doing the MBS 609, and Nick DiCania, who is doing MBS 608. So at about 7, I'll give the floor to both Venkat and Nick, so that as they will introduce themselves and the unit. So just a little bit about myself. So I'm the academic chair of the program, and I also teach MBS 607 this year. I've been co-teaching that unit for the past since the offering started. This year I'll be flying solo. I co-designed the whole program also together with my former boss then, Dr. Christopher Was. So a lot of what this program is about is also about each one of us. So I'm from Malaysia, originally came to Australia to study, and have continued working in Australia. Uprooting and starting anew is always challenging, and this program is about the ability to adapt yourself, to be resilient. Adaptability also means picking up new knowledge. I'm trained as an economist. I did my PhD in economics at the ANU, focusing on human capital development, public policy, how to develop, how do we say, a competitive nation. So firms and individuals who are competitive that create a competitive nation. And I've branched out into areas. I've looked at how politics can facilitate a competitive nation or hinder it, how identity can manifest itself as social conflicts, identity meaning religion, race, class, how it impacts society, and how that can hinder or foster competitiveness. So I have an eclectic interest, including ethics, or I would say ethics is the foundation of most of the research that I do. The role of principles and values in how individuals, business organizations organize themselves and deliver on their products and services. So I'll be teaching two or three units on the program, and as I tell all of you, all my students, one of the things that I love most about this program is I'm dealing with experts themselves, like all of you, just where you are, you've got years of experience in that area that you're in. And when I interact with you, I learn as much. We are facilitators, and I'll come to that in a moment, how this program is designed, and we're learning from each other throughout this program. Okay, so now that we kind of know each other, I'll just go on into a bit more about the program. So just at a high level, you do know there is 3 themes. Okay, so there is the innovation theme, the leadership theme, and the strategy theme. So you have come into the strategy theme, which is delivered every 3rd trimester of the year. The innovation theme is in the 1st trimester. The leadership theme is in the 2nd trimester. Now, this is details that I hope you have already you are aware of before signing up for the program. This shouldn't be new to you, but if anything, so there is an international immersion which we now have to do online because travel is restricted. It's now delivered in trimester 2 and only in trimester 2, which is MBS 638. Now, there is also MBS 639, which is the capstone consulting unit, which is delivered every trimester. I'll speak a little bit more about it, just a little bit more about it later in the session. But there is also a full session on MBS 639 next Thursday, in 2 days' time, where a 2-hour discussion on what 639 is all about. But this is just to give you a big picture. You can do it in a year if you want. You can do it up to within 5 years. That's the regulatory requirement. It's up to you. I would say pace yourself, and we'll come to this in a bit. The importance of planning and pacing. Okay. So an important date that you should know is the census date, which is 20th September. So the units are delivered in a staggered manner. So the teaching of 608 is done this month, 607 next month, 609 in the 3rd month of the trimester. But in order for you to be able to do those 3 units, should you choose to do those 3 units, you have to enroll into them before the 20th September. Now, should you decide that you want to leave a unit, you have to do it before 20th September, after which you will be forced to pay even if you don't complete the unit. Okay. Okay. The big picture about this program. So Dr. Chris and I designed this program we started thinking about this program in 2014. We had come through the subprime crisis of 2008. This was built on, I don't know if you remember the Doha, the World Trade Organization 2001, the stalling of the negotiations. So trade negotiations were not happening. There was a global financial crisis. There were economic or financial crises that were happening with regularity. The climate issue was gaining, or climate challenges were becoming more frequent. So we were asking ourselves, what are the challenges executives were facing? And after about a 16-month research, we realized, or we decided to hone into a particular group, middle to senior managers who wanted to thrive in, I'm sure you've heard of this term called VUCA, volatile, uncertain, complex, ambiguous environment. Okay, now before COVID made it clear front and center, this was already a term that the military had identified. When you cannot understand what is happening, how do you lead? Okay, so this is what underpins this program. And Monica will know this. We've had chats. What I'm actually looking for as academic chair is for individuals to demonstrate leadership actually through this program. Now I cannot assess that. I don't assess that, but that's what I'm looking for. Because at the end of the day, if you pass all your units but cannot show leadership within this learning unit, how are you actually going to lead back at the workplace? Okay, so since last year, I've now said it more clearly. In the past, I didn't say it, but nowadays I say it clearly. You know, can you demonstrate leadership? You know, how do you work with your team? How do you manage yourself? Okay, and ultimately, what we hope for is leaders who can achieve organizational goals in their workplace sustainably. So this is a big thing that this program is also about. That means you're not just wanting to do better from success in a narrow, gain promotion, increase sales, capture markets, but in a broader sense, can I do all of these things? Yes. Can I gain promotion? Can I capture markets? Can I increase sales? But can I do this sustainably? Okay, and we have a specific way of defining sustainability, all of which comes from best practices, international standards. We are using international standards, best practices in all of our units. So this is, at its core, this is what this program is all about: how to become a better leader. Okay, and we have. The units are the different approaches that you take to become a better leader, better at strategizing, better at foresight, better at rethinking the things that we do, better at managing things in a sustainable way, in an ethical way, better at innovating. So all of this makes you a better leader.
Greg, I'm happy to jump in this, I echo Greg's comments hugely. It's really difficult to do online learning, and you have to step out of your comfort zone often to it's not just about listening to your lecture and doing your assignment and that's it. It's about everything else around it as well. So step out of your comfort zone, engage with people, ask questions, set up WhatsApp groups, take a lead, be a role model. It only makes this whole course so much more valuable and meaningful when you do that. So and that really shone a light to me as I was going through the program. And May mentioned when you started, you didn't want to ask too many questions. You've got to reach out to your peers. Everyone's experts in certain ways. So definitely reach out to your peers, reach out to your lecturers, talk amongst each other, brainstorm. Like that's really where this whole leadership thing comes from, and it will make your journey so enjoyable.
Fantastic, Monica. And what Monica just did is what a leader would do. Greg, I'd like to jump in right now because I have an important intervention to make. This is that type of program. Okay, and you will also notice Monica doesn't do it all the time when there is a important point to make. And this is what we expect. You are a leader. You're all senior people. When you have something, please share. And that's the next. I'll come to this point. Yeah, precisely. That's a great segue. Okay, so when we were designing this program, what's the pedagogy that sits under this? Okay, so one is community of inquiry. So we are now a community that is in search, that is inquiring about a particular set of knowledge. Okay, or the formal definition, a group of individuals who collaboratively engage in purposeful, critical, that means not just accepting things, discourse, reflection to construct personal meaning and confirm mutual understanding. So just imagine all of you have, years of experience. Jason, Siu Ching, Farizan, Sandra, who's here, who's from Hong Kong, who just joined us, who hasn't turned on her video yet, but that's all right. So imagine with this body of knowledge that is embedded in you, if you just sit down quietly, it's a loss to everyone else. Now, if everyone keeps quiet, nobody learns. Okay, so this is key to this program. We are learning from each other. This is not, oh, there is an expert lecturer who is going to teach us things. No, this is not that program. The lecturer is a facilitator. Yes, he is an expert in a certain area, but he facilitates, he or she facilitates, because a principle that we have in this program, or the design of this program, is that you are also experts. You wouldn't be where you are if you were not capable. So if you do not we do not surface the knowledge that you have, it's a loss for all of us. And that is why it is highly interactive, because we expect each one of us to share. Now, it also means that you will also have to read the materials provided before coming. Okay, because it's important that you do not give opinions or views, while as important that they are, but those opinions and views must be substantiated. Okay, so it's a considered opinion, it's an analysis. So my experience with the body of knowledge that I've been introduced to, what's my take on it based on my experience? Now imagine if 10 or 12 or 15 people who are experienced reading the material and critically reflecting on it and sharing their views. You will all become better. And that's a key design of this program. Okay, feel free to jump in and ask questions at any time. So it's also learner and students centric. So a lot of, there is opportunity. So there's lots of time given for you to discuss this, what we call asynchronous learning. I'll come to that in a minute, on the curator, where you read, you discuss, you put out your views, others respond, and then also in the live collaborate sessions, which is what we call our lectures, a lot of group work discussions, questions are posed to you, you reflect on it, you share, a lot of group work that you need to do. So highly interactive, all the time the learner and the student is sharing their opinion. Okay, the educator is a facilitator more than anything. Okay, and we try our best to make it more a dialogue, a discussion, rather than lectures. Okay, so Nick, welcome Nick. Co-creation and innovation. So what we eventually hope to achieve is that collectively we come up with sort of a new, or affirm what we know. Understand perhaps some of the things we are doing is incorrect. Find out better ways of doing things. Okay, and then we go away from the program more capable. Okay, that's, you know, at the end of the day, we should be more capable in doing things than we are currently. Okay. Okay, so now that Nick is here, and Nick is doing one MBS 608. Yeah, I think this is perhaps a good time for Nick. I can call on Nick to say a few words about MBS 608, which he does, and perhaps yeah, make if you can.
Perfect. Thanks, Greg.
Yeah.
So I know a couple of you, Monica, May, hi, and lots of you I don't. We have in the strategy theme, MBS 608 is maybe the more formal strategy course in terms of, you know, we'll cover quite a lot of material that is the strategy theories, how do you operationalize it? As always, we do quite a few cases to try and get to those concepts and see them in application. So it's important that we discuss that in class, that people have pre-read the case, and we break into groups to discuss, to discuss some of the questions that are relevant to the case. I think May will say to all of those new ones that it's time pressured. And I think that reflects maybe a reality in business. So many times in academia, we'll say in 5,000 words, please discuss X, Y. But if you ever get to a board situation, you try present 5,000 words on any topic, I think 1% of people will ever read it, if that. And so a key part of that is trying to distill what is actually the 2 or 3 key things I need to, pull out of this situation, as opposed to a test of rote learning or very detailed sort of enumeration of the case. Not that that's a problem, but it is a skill to be able to assess a situation and say, here are the 5 things I'm going to do, as opposed to here is a data dump of what's in the case, which your colleagues have read, I have read. So look, 608 is really interesting. What we do quite a lot of is try to distinguish the strategic literature world into the idea of there's red ocean strategy. In other words, how do you compete with a competitor? And these are concepts that obviously we'll do in the course. How do you compete with competitors? What are the philosophies around that? And many of you have come across Porter, industrial organization, 5 forces, that sort of thing. So this is red ocean. In other words, I'm competing with you. But just as importantly, and perhaps even more so, is the concept of blue ocean, which is the kind of trademarked, but Clayton Christensen, disruptive innovation, and these sorts of philosophies which say, well, I mean, red ocean has got a limit to profitability. It's about efficiency. It's about exploiting what you currently do and perhaps do very well. But in order to grow, you really want to find a place that your competitor isn't particularly strong. And so we sort of have a look at how that is, how those work, they're kind of more formalized theories, but I think it gives a nice balance between, this idea of how do you operationalize strategy, as opposed to simply, here is a textbook, here's a whole lot of theories about strategy, and what exactly do they do? So by its very nature, strategy is a fairly abstract concept. How do you view it is important. And I think that if you leave going, when I'm next confronted with a strategic question, I can put it in a box. Am I in a blue ocean or red ocean? And then inside that, what do I want to do? I think that that's, a pretty good outcome. Just, note that this is a course that's aimed at executives or postgraduates, people who should have had a fair amount of experience. If that doesn't really describe you, then I'd suggest it's going to be quite a lot of work. But if you have touched on, running a business unit or being at that level, it should be very interesting.
Okay, thanks. Anyone has any questions for Nick? Nick unfortunately can't stay along with us. Best to grab him right now. Frisian, do you have any thoughts for Nick? No. Jason won't be doing Nick's question. Xu Cheng or Sandra?
Just overcome with excitement, speechless. Right.
Okay, no. I'm here.
Yeah. So yeah, no, I was just wondering if you had any questions for Nick. Now today I'm going to go easy on you guys and let you off if you don't turn on your cameras. But believe me, once you get onto the unit, that would be considered being absent. Okay.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, absolutely not acceptable. This is a live class. The whole idea is we are in a class together and we are discussing. It was designed that way. So you will, in fact, now with COVID-19, you should be used to that already. Okay, but compulsory camera on. You can be like Jason. He's probably doing something else. That's fine. Okay, that's fine. But we need to see you there. And, because what we are also doing is we are assessing you as we go along. Okay, So when you do your written work, if we think, nah, this guy or this person hasn't really been doing his or her work during the class, and suddenly you come up with a brilliant analysis, nah, something's not right here. Now, vice versa, which is more often the case, very highly interactive, capable during the class, somehow in the assessments, not up to the mark, or okay, then we give you the benefit of the doubt. Okay, you say, no, this person is actually capable, perhaps. Okay, so during the highly interactive, you got to, and it's also, just courtesy, respect. So but we are assessing you throughout the session. Okay. How I forget your name. Who has just joined in, and Sandra from Hong Kong. Can you hear me? Or you just got your, yeah? Can you turn on your videos, please?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah. Could you please turn on your videos?
I might jump in and say something there again, Greg.
Yeah, please.
Coming out of our recent units as well. It just makes it easier for everybody if we see everybody, and you're just able to share more, and don't be afraid to ask questions. You will get asked by your lecturer, and you don't want that awkward silence to happen. So just get engaged as much as you can, because everybody learns differently, and don't worry about what you think others might think, because I can promise you everybody else is thinking it. So be engaged as much as possible, and don't worry about your cameras being on, because I mean, I'm a tracksuit. It's all good.
Yeah, that's fine. You need to grab a coffee. If you have a child or a partner who walks in, that's fine. Ho Yin, I understand this was a late notice, so, and I understand if you need to keep your camera off because you're in a public space. I fully understand. But during the classes, you should be at home or anywhere which has a good internet connection, and where you can fully focus on the class for your own good, because if there's a lot of distractions, you're not going to learn well. Secondly, also, as I said, this is a program on leadership. How you carry yourself is a reflection on your leadership. Okay, so do we respect others if they're giving their time? Am I also going to give my time fully? Am I fully committed in that 3 hours to give my best? So all of these are leadership in action. Leadership is not an action. It's not a title. It's a being. Okay.
Greg, can I just, one of the things I would suggest, having spent a fair amount of time on the other side of the lecture system, is it's probably a lot easier to do the lectures, certainly in the courses I do, and you can speak to your colleagues, as opposed to imagining that perhaps it's just in the slides. I think that if you review the slides afterwards, there's a lot that I don't know, it doesn't carry through particularly well. And whilst we try and improve our slides all the time, I would suggest that you probably double your work if you snooze through the lectures and then try SWOT afterwards or before. So I think the easiest way, the most pain-free way of doing this is to ask questions, go mad in the class, because by and large, I think you can kind of wing the rest of it. So
agree. Agree. It is more meaningful in class, and I mean, even if you had to ask to repeat a certain thing or just to clarify, do it, because afterwards it's too late. It's harder to digest. Yeah, agree.
Okay, thanks, Nick. Feel free to stay on, and if you need to go, we understand. Good to have you. For some reason, Venkat, who was here earlier, seems to have dropped off. But whenever he comes in, I'll ask him to say a few words about 609. So I do 607. So basically, how this theme is structured is, so 608, which Nick does, is strategy to operation. So how do you think, as Nick said, how do you think of strategy? How do you operationalize it? Now 607. So strategy is here and now. Perhaps back in the days, 2 to 3 years. Nowadays, with COVID-19, I doubt anyone plans for, we'll think about it, but hard to plan for more than 6 months. So 607 is more about, or it's situated in the discipline of foresight. How do we think about the world or the market that we operate in 5 years' time, in 10 years' time, in 15 years' time? So it's not about strategy. It is about thinking of the world that we will live in 5 years, in 10 years, in 15 years. And there are techniques in how you can think about these plausible worlds in 5 years, in 10 years, in 15 years. So that is 6 or 7. And then once you have that, the good organizations would say, okay, if these are the 3 or 4 worlds that is plausible, what should we do today, or what strategy should we take today that makes us resilient to any of these 4 or 2 or 3 eventuation? How are we best placed for this 2 or 3 eventuation? So that is 6 or 7. And 6 or 9 is kind of in between. So now that you know how to lead from strategy to operations, and you kind of have some techniques on how to think about the future. 6 or 9 is how to rethink markets and consumers or people that buy your services, knowing both these ends of the spectrums. Okay, and then Venkat will lead that. So that's the strategy theme in a nutshell. Now you don't have to do all 3 units. You can do 1, you can do 2, or you can do 3. Okay. Feel free to jump in anytime to ask ask questions. Okay. And okay, here are the sort of the learning and technology platforms. So we learn, or the learning and teaching happens in 2 ways. One is what we call the synchronous learning, which is the live online collaborate sessions. It will be exactly like this, 6 to 9 every Mondays and Thursdays. All the units are on Mondays, and all the sessions are Mondays and Thursdays, 6 to 9. So we're learning in a synchronous way. Like there'll be some lectures, a bit of lectures, case studies, discussions, presentations, debates. That's all happening in a synchronous. So we are learning in real time. But what's also equally important, or in my view, even more important, is what happens before the class and after the class. So asynchronous learning. So we have something called Curator, which puts all the learning materials in. So for each session, what's the learning materials you need to cover? And then there are discussion questions, which you should be engaged with your peers. So again, I look for leadership. Can you share if you have knowledge about a particular paper or an article? Can you share? Now I have yet to see this also, but one of the things that I hope I will see someday soon is that a group of students come together and say, look, you read the first article, I'll read the second article, and then let's share. Let's create a Google document and let's put up these notes. Okay. That is learning, collaboration. That's leadership. Okay. perhaps there are small groups who are doing this offline altogether, but I'm looking for that time when this becomes the way that the class learns. Like this is the default mode. We're all going to share our knowledge, including how we cover the learning resources. Okay, and it also helps us to track your progress. So Curator has a analytics at the back that tells us how much each student has covered over the period of the unit. Okay. Cool, and yeah, so we used to use Zoom, but we no longer use it. So everything will be done over Teams, and we will not use Blackboard Collaborate. Sorry, I should have removed that, but we will be using Teams from now on. So we all of us, I think, looks like all of you are already experts on Teams. Okay, and we also have a LinkedIn group, a closed group, which is for current students, new students, and also our oldest students who have graduated. So important announcements I will put up in LinkedIn, and of course I'll also send through your unit groups. And also there are interesting information. Nick has shared some really interesting articles there. Some students have shared, and yeah, again, the LinkedIn is something where I'm hoping it will take a life of its own, where the students share with each other exciting things, valuable learning, valuable knowledge for each other, and also keep the relationship and network, strengthen the networks further. Okay, so Tesco is also a new student from Hong Kong. He's just joined us. Welcome, Tesco. So this last minute, but they were just accepted into the program. Okay. So yeah.
Hi guys.
Hi Tesco.
Yeah. I'm still.
No worries. No worries.
Yeah.
So today, I know it was a short notice, so no problem. Yeah. So I'll just keep on going, and feel free to ask questions at any time. So some of the type of activities that you would be introduced to is, yep, of course, the virtual classroom, not through Zoom, through Teams. And okay, this is a big thing. You're expected to spend 150 hours on a unit. Okay. I'm not sure how many hours you spend, but that's the expectation. Okay. Look, even if you spend 100 hours, it's all right, but make it productive. But the standard is for you to really sort of deep learning. It will be about 150 hours. See you, Nick. Catch up soon.
Yeah, and on that bombshell, I'll see you all guys next week.
Okay, and so there are the textbook chapters. Okay. Tesco, do you mind muting your microphone, please? Thanks. That's thank you. So some units may have guest speakers. There'll be videos. There are formal and informal assessments. Some are self-directed. Some are team. Some are team as in two. Sometimes bigger than that. There are individual and group presentations. Okay, how are we doing for time? Okay, and just to capture again, so you're a leader. What type of leader are you? Lots of leading, to make this program work and to make your learning journey work. and we'll hear a bit from about this from Monica and May, or you may have already heard it. Lots of sharing, lots of empathy, lots of politeness, self-directed, co-creating. So there is a body of knowledge, but we're going to make it real to us, and can we come up together with something better? And lots of planning. Okay, this is key. It is intense. It's a very intensive program, and then life happens. So how do you hold this tension? Okay. So support certainly your peers. You've heard this. Really, they are very important. They are so important. Now, the other thing that I'm trying to do, and you're in a way seeing a bit of that, is alumni, sort of people who have already jumped the hoops. Can they come back and help out? So that's where the LinkedIn has come in. That's where, again, thank you to May and Monica. So they are there, and you know, feel free to lean on them. Now, Murdoch University from 2014, I think, or I forget, 2014 has a clear strategy to become a digital university, and that's been our strategy. So there are lots of resources online. I'll come up with a list of it, or if you go onto my Murdoch, or for those from Kaplan, Kaplan's orientation would already have shown you a whole bunch of resources. So there's loads of resources, and then of course your unit facilitators, they're also there certainly to help you out. Okay. Okay. And I think, yeah, I'll end with this too. So just briefly, 639. Now, you can't do 639 until you have completed 6 units, any 6 units, or if you have advanced standing that comes to 6 units. Now, to enroll into 639, so complete 6 units, you must have a team, you must have a client, a draft of a project proposal, a draft of I put there 1.0 means draft project plan. Now, you're most welcome to enroll. The only hard requirement is 6 units. I can't stop you if you don't have a team or you don't have a client, but you will fail the unit, okay? Because you can't do this unit without a team, without a client, and without a research project. All right, and you've been you tell us, so as part of the research plan, you will say assessment 1 is done on this time, 2 and 3, and so that's a negotiated. So there are no fixed dates, but you must, once you enroll, you have to complete it within the trimester. Otherwise you fail, just like every other unit. You got to complete it. So what I recommend is you immediately start looking for a team, start looking for a client, and then as a team start thinking about, you know, what research do you want to do. So the research should come under one of these 3 themes, you know, innovation, leadership, or strategy. Okay, and then more specifically, it could be part of a unit, like a question that comes out from a unit, or it can also straddle different topics, but how you scope it is very important, because if it becomes, remember, you only have perhaps 10 weeks, it has to be 9,000 words. So you know, it's not like a PhD thesis, it's a business research. So scoping it so that you can manage it within that 10 weeks is going to be critical. But start planning immediately. Start thinking about it immediately. Otherwise, you will struggle to find a team, to find a client, and to find the research. Okay. Yep. So study plan and okay, I'll certainly send you all these dates if you don't already have it. Big thing, or the most important thing to remember, it's Monday and Thursday. All classes happen Monday and Thursday. Okay. All right. Study plan, and this is sort of the most important thing. So, you have the dates. So how at the individual level, how are you managing yourself? How do you plan when to study, when not to you've got work, you've got family, you've got a social life, and then you got to study. So how do you manage this? And then there are assessments. Now every unit, as you should know, within the 4 weeks there are two assessments. So it's intense. Okay, you've got your learning, you've got your assessment within 4 weeks. So how are you? Do you have a strategy for that? And then at least one of the unit will involve a group. At least one of the assessment will involve a group work. What's the plan there? Okay, what's the plan around that? And then the live online collaborate sessions. So it happens every Monday, Thursday. How do you prepare yourself for the sessions? So and then at the unit level, okay, if I'm doing MBS 608, what's my plan? Okay, and I will strongly also advise you that you think of it at the program level. Do you want to do all unit immediately within each trimester? You can. My personal advice is don't. It's tough. Certainly you can, and there are students who have done it, but it is stressful. Of course, if you want to do it, you're most welcome. The best is probably to take 4 trimesters or 5, ideally 5 trimesters, I would say. 4 or 5 is good. Then you can sort of move a unit or two, or give enough breaks within each trimester, and enjoy the journey better. Okay. Now, I think it's better to actually hear from Monica and May on all of this, because as I mentioned, they have walked the 1,000 miles. I haven't. Okay, so I can never imagine, try as I may, what you all go through. So can I hand over to May and Monica? They have prepared some thoughts around this. Over to you, May and Monica.
Okay, I'll start. Thanks, Greg, for introducing us. Yeah, I'm so glad that I'm one of one that's finishing. But there's something that Greg didn't share with you guys, and I have to share. Okay, that is, indeed there are assignments for each module. However, remember, one of your assignment definitely will coincide with the new module. That's something that Greg
yes, yeah, good point.
That is the most difficult last assignment, because the due date is much later. It will coincide with your next module, because your next unit doesn't stop. It continues every week, right? So what happens is, if you drag until to the last moment to do, you're going to be really stressed. That's something to add.
Yes. Brilliant. Yes, thank you. So what? Yeah, that's very important. Thank you. So what May is saying is this. So let's say we start with 608. Now the first 2 assessments happen within that 4 weeks. Okay, assessment 1, assessment 2, but assessment 3 comes at the end of the trimester. Now this will coincide with MBS 609. So Friday, 19th November. Okay, so MBS 609 last session, 18th November. Okay, so these dates are given ahead. If you have not received it, you will receive it. But that's a great point. You don't choke, bottleneck at the end. Thank you, May. Back to you, May. Sorry. Go ahead.
Okay, so I think it's important to know that second is, Sometimes the lecturers will find your groups. If you want to have your own form groups, you have to ask whether you're allowed to, and you can form your own groups too if you want to. Sometimes we suggest and be bold to suggest, like what Greg said, just suggest. If it's accepted, great, because we may have certain group work that you've done before and you prefer certain group members, but I do encourage you guys to mix around. However, if there are availability to choose your group, you can do so. That's something I want to add, and I'll leave it to Monica to add the rest.
Good points, May. Thank you so much.
Yeah, so there's a couple of things, and I'll actually build a little bit on that group work. And the group work isn't just about what you're doing in each unit. It's about what happens outside as well. And so Greg made a point about if you look at a lot of the pre-reads for each class, so on Curator, there's a lot of different essential reading and recommended reading that you need to do before the lesson. It's really important that you do read up before the lesson. It makes it easier that night. But if you've got your group, delegate. If you take on this reading and I take on this reading and so somebody else takes on another reading, then maybe you can come together to just talk about what the reading was about before the locks. That makes your workload so much more manageable. So, Greg, this might just very well be your first group that will undertake that activity. I would love to hear how that works, because we've done it in a small group for assignments, but we've never done it around your actual pre-reading that's required for the Monday night or the Thursday night's lesson.
Yeah. Monica, can I just, so again, this is why you have students to share. So Monica mentioned about Curator or the readings. So this is how Curator will look like. So this is for it's my unit, I believe, 6 or 7. Sorry. Yeah. So this is how Curator will look like. So this is 637. So you will get, so for 6 or 8 on Friday evening, you will get access to this. You already, no, tomorrow you will have access to the LMS. So just let me quickly introduce you to the two two technology sites that you would have.
Yeah. Most important, guys, save the site. Save it. It's a bookmark that you cannot miss.
Yes, and your password, just save it because it's easy just to log on.
That's true. Okay. Now it might look slightly different, or it will certainly look different because I'm logging this. So my Murdoch, but from a lecturer's point of view. Okay, so this would be in my Murdoch. So this is what we call the formal part. So this is part of the university. So for example, let's see who are the participants here. So I can see Salwati, Nicholas, Suba, William. So all these are students who are, have already enrolled. So your names should be here. Also, I think Farizan, Sui Cheng, Sandra, and all your names would be here in the next few days. Okay, so this is where all the formal, submission of assessments and all will take place. Okay, and then you have the learning guide. Okay, so this is only for submission of assessments and sort of formal notification and so forth. And you also have the readings through the library. Okay, so you can click on this and to read. So you have you have that here. But where the sort of the discussion takes place is on curator. This is outside of the university, so this is special to this program. So let's take, so week 1, this week 1A means this is your first session. So for your first session, here are the readings that you need to read. And then you will have a question here. All right, and then based on your readings, you share your views. Okay, and then there is a discussion and so forth. Okay, so this is what Monica was talking about. If you have a group and you say, look, I don't have to read everything. If we can share the load, why don't you read one? I read one, and we share notes. You know, that would be a great strategy. So for each week, there will be readings. Okay, and you have to cover it before the session. And of course, you can also go back after the session, and if you've learned something new, you can also continue to comment. Okay, so some units have marks assigned to this engagement. All right. Now, a big reason we have this is to see how the students are performing. Okay, so some students. So you should all be, so this means progress. That means how much you have read and how much you have engaged. So William, all of you should be here. May, I'm not surprised. Monica, not surprised. So these are the students who have read, engaged with all the materials, and also commented, responded, and so forth. Okay, so if you're not contributing or you're not covering, you will be somewhere here. Okay, now these are students who have did not complete the unit, for one reason or another. So if you're on this side, then we will, after 1 week or 2 weeks, we might email you and say, what's happening? Why aren't you covering? Because if you don't do your part, it's unfair to first of all, you're not keeping pace, keeping track. But also secondly, then you're not going to be able to contribute effectively during the class, and that's unfair to the other students. You're not being a leader. Okay. Now we understand again, life happens, but you need to, let us know what's happening. A lot of empathy, but also, standards need to be met. Okay, thank you. Thanks for that, Monica. Back to you and May.
Yeah, look, it's really important, and you'll see also that you saw the different color progress, like you saw red, and if you go back, Greg, to curator.
Curator.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's all right. But you had it still open, just yeah. Oh no, it's the next one.
No, I'll get this one.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
So you can see, like there, if we look at Welcome to MBS 637, the very first box, that's gold. So you'll see that all the pre-reading that you've done, it gives you points. So that's, so if you go to 3A, week 1A, which is kind of that one. Yeah. So if you click on that week, so you have to read so you get points for what you've read, and then you get points for when you've commented, and you have to meet minimum of 33, I think it says there, points for this one for it to be completed. So when you write so where that question is at the top, like really contribute. So if you click on that one, yep, so there's a question here. So really add value. Like, what are your thoughts around this? And they might not be correct which is fine. But what are your thoughts? And then contribute. If you read someone else's, if you have a look at what somebody else has written, you might go, oh my gosh, I didn't realize that. This is what I thought. Or so it becomes a conversation. What you don't want to do is just write good article. That's not going to bring any value to the conversation at all. So use it. This is a really good opportunity to share, because people learn by the way people interpret. So I encourage you to embrace this tool and contribute to it, because that's one way. And as Greg said, some of the units you are assessed on how you've written and how you've engaged with this. So definitely make sure you use it. It helps me a lot, So, and I love to see that bar go and turn gold. It's quite rewarding.
Yeah, and also on that, so yeah, thanks again, Monica. So good point about experience point. So there is like a leaderboard based on the experience point. So I think William, after some good advice, and Subhashini did well, but as you can see, May and Monica are all good performers. Now, you shouldn't just do it for the points. You know, this is just an additional reward. It's about the learning process more than anything. Okay. So yeah, thanks. So this is the curator, where the asynchronous learning between the live sessions, which is in my view more important, but if not equally important, because this is where you prepare so that you can really contribute and ready to learn during the live sessions.
Yeah,
okay.
And really my big tip is make sure you've read it before. Don't do the class on the Monday and then on Tuesday do the reading, because it is a disconnect. So be ahead if you can. And so that comes down to your planning. So for me, so what I did is before every unit, I'd write the dates down that each assignment was due. And then you've got Monday and Thursday nights you block off, because that's your LOCS class. Then plan when you're going to read your pre-materials and when you're going to work on your assignments, or when you're going to meet as a group, because time goes by so quickly. Before you know it, 4 weeks is up, and then you're like, oh my gosh, I've got so much to do. So plan is really fundamental, and it makes your journey so much easier. So that's really important. So yeah, so pop these dates down and then plan around it. It's really, really important. And then the other thing, Greg, I don't know if you've spoken about the My Murdoch. So there's a lot of extra tools and resources that Murdoch offer. And so I encourage you to just take some time to get to know the website really well and find out about things like Grammarly, like EndNote, the library, because they become your best friends when you've written your assignments. So make sure you just spend some time before you start looking at what resources are available through the My Murdoch platform. Highly encourage you to do that. And then again, I talk about working with your peers. Like some assignments you get assessed on your referencing, so APA referencing. So make sure you just get up to speed with that. And if you're struggling, use your colleagues in the group. Like, hey guys, are you familiar with the APA Style 7? There are great resources on Murdoch, but if you still need some support, call on the expertise in the room. I had a group that did this last unit, and I sat with them and did some helping around this actual referencing. And it's amazing how you learn when you see. So that's just an example. Just honestly reach out to your colleagues, talk. It's really fundamental. Yeah, and that's pretty much my top tips for you guys. And I'm always happy to jump on at any time. You know, if you're halfway through a unit, I've said to Greg, if there's just Q&A that you want or some tips, I'm happy to help out where you need.
Thank you, Monica. Yeah, I'll put a note on that on our LinkedIn group. Calling for volunteers. So please rely on your alumni. I also want to circle back to what May said earlier around this. So certainly ask your peers, but May also said ask your facilitator. Now, so you have you can ask them in the class. Believe me, like Nick said, ask during the class. Don't have to feel embarrassed or anything. Don't just ask if you need it. Now, there will be certain, of course, we will tolerate some sort of what we call definitional questions. So some things you should know. Okay, like what is Potter's diamond? If there was a chapter that you were required to read and Potter's diamond was in that chapter and you didn't know that, okay, that one is probably not. It's not a good thing. But if you're not clear about something, look, I understood Potter's diamond this way. Why are you saying that it is this way? Okay, that's fantastic. Okay, that is where learning happens. I said, okay, this is how I understood this concept. And some of these concepts can be challenging, especially in, like 6 or 7. I guarantee you're going to find a lot of challenging concepts. But also in strategy, getting it might be a bit of a challenge. So feel free to ask. Now, the other thing where I strongly encourage you to do is when you have an assessment, the intelligent thing to do is, okay, here's the outline for my assessment. I'm going to run it past, okay, maybe run it past somebody you know first in your peers. What do you think? Good? Okay, great. I'm going to run it past my facilitator. Am I on the right track? Now, of course, the facilitator cannot give you a detailed explanation because then he's helping you do the assessment, but he or she will say, yep, you're on the right track. Have you thought about this? Have you thought about this? Or we say, okay, I think you have misunderstood the question. Now you want to know that earlier rather than when you get the result. All right, so you are encouraged to ask your facilitator questions, and certainly please provide them an outline of your assessment and ask them what do they think of it. That's okay. That's not cheating. All right. Cool.
Can I add some more tips?
Yes, May, go in. Yes.
Go for them, because I don't have so much tips when I first joined, right? I kind of I'm envious, okay? Okay, so add to Monica. I think you guys will have lecture notes from the lecturers after each class. You also will have your logs recording. They are equally
yeah.
Okay, very important, because lecture notes are not detailed, but lecture note tells you what the lecturer wants you to know for your assignment.
Yeah.
That's my basis. And you can pick on the kind of theories that he has focused on. He may not go to detail, but it helps you to know which theory and which are those important. And lecture recording, I don't read all recording. Of course, I attend all classes, never miss anyone. But the recording is good if you're kind of confused. You can play back. So these are 2 things you must remember to follow up after the class. To chase your lecturer for lecture notes, make sure there's a recording. It's fine. They'll be fine to upload for you if they forgot it.
Yeah. Thanks, May. That's also a very good point.
Yeah.
So, okay, number 1, all classes are compulsory. Life happens, but no, you cannot miss more than 2 sessions. Missing more than 2 sessions will impact on your results and can also lead you to failing the unit. Okay, if you think you've missed too many sessions, because as I said, we are assessing you in each session. That's 1. And 2, great point about the lecture slides. So there's too much to cover in 24 hours. The reading materials are there. There may be 50 slides. The lecturer might cover 6 or 10 slides. Okay, but the lecture slides is the lecturer telling you, here are the key things that I want you to to take notice of. Okay, and then the things that he or she is discussing, take even more notice of. Okay, and so the great thing about using Teams, so we will now create like a Microsoft Teams project for each unit. So as soon as the lecture happens, it's recorded straight and uploaded into the team. So you will have it immediately, and then we might put the link also on Curator. We might do away with it, but the slides, of course, as you watch the recording, the slides are also there, but we will also upload the slides either, so like Nick will send it out to everyone and put it up later on Curator, or some like myself, I'll upload it onto Curator. Okay, but yeah, feel free to chase. Yeah, we're also doing multiple things. So Nick he's actually a consultant. He has his own company. They invest in firms, they restructure firms, and so forth. So he's literally doing business on a day-to-day basis. So yeah, feel free to ask them questions or to chase them up. It's perfectly acceptable.
Jason has a question, I think, Greg.
Yeah, now Q&A. So it's good timing, everyone. So 8 o'clock. We'll try to finish this at 8:15, and those who want to stay on also till 8:30, we will be here. But if you need to leave at 8:15, that's perfectly fine. So yeah, let's open up to Q&A. Jason.
Hey, Dr. Greg, thank you so much for sharing, and May and Monica. I just want to understand the 607 Curator, how soon will that be open so that I can...
Okay, good question. So the Curator only opens the Friday before the unit starts. So for 607, it will be the Friday before this day. Okay, but you will have the unit guide by Monday.
All right.
So the unit guide and all the readings will be available 30th of August. Okay, so that will be there. The 608, it will be open tomorrow. And 609, the LMS, not the Curator. So LMS for my Murdoch, the unit. I'm tripping over myself. So this is 608. It's ready. It will open tomorrow. So as soon as you enroll, you already have you can read. It's just that the discussion side of it will open on Friday. Okay. So for 609 and 607, this one will come online on Monday the 30th. Okay, Jason?
Thank you,
Good question. Yeah, good question. Anyone else has any questions? Could be quite a bit today. Again, you're welcome to email if you have questions. Again, so think about it this way. So you're a leader. Have you done everything to find out, to sort? This is, I don't know, I'm probably stereotyping. I'm told that Asians and Westerners, when they travel, there is one thing that really differentiates them. The Westerner will have a map. He or she will try to figure out how to get there before they ask questions. Whereas the Asian won't bother, but just ask and ask and ask and ask and ask and ask. And now it's two perfectly different approaches. But in this program, we want to be the Westerner approach. Have I done everything to figure this out? Because that is how a leader would approach things. After that, now don't kill yourself trying to find out everything and be efficient about it. You have a very intensive. Oops, okay, I've spent enough time on this. I'm not finding out the solution. Ask my peers. Look, did anyone solve this? Okay, no. Okay. You need facilitator.
Yeah.
Look, I'm facing this. I've asked my friends. I've tried figuring out. Can't. Can you advise? Done. If you need advice, so some things are beyond us. If it's a technology issue, especially, or if it's something to do with the library, because we ourselves have to deal. Murdoch University is 2,000 staffs, different units, so we also have to rely on them. But yes, so try to resolve. Don't kill yourself. If you've tried and you've not been able to resolve it, your friends can help you very quickly. And your solution might be something that was required for everyone. So feel free. This is a program on leadership. Okay, don't be afraid of making a mistake, but demonstrate that you've tried first before reaching out. Any other questions? Okay, so if not, thank you, especially Monica and May. Really, you've made this session much better. Sandra, Switching, Farizan, Jason, nice to meet you all, and I look forward to seeing you all on the program. Feel free to reach out anytime. Oh yeah, Hon and Tesco, also good to have you on board, and look forward to seeing you all on the unit shortly. All right. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night. Enjoy.
Everyone.
Yes. Bye.
So no more questions, right?